So good morning, and thank you for being here. My name is Liz Hart, and I'm the founder and executive director of Tailored for Success. If this is your first time participating in a workshop, I want to thank you for joining us and just tell you a little bit about Tailored for Success. We are a nonprofit agency that provides job seekers with resources, skills training, and services that they need, whether unemployed, underemployed, or in transition. Today's workshop is part of our Reimagine Your Career webinar series that is a monthly workshop series on topics that are of interest to help job seekers. And we're focusing this month on financial literacy. And we have topics that concern personal, professional, and development issues, in addition to what we're doing this month with the financial literacy. Just to let you know, today's presentation will be recorded. The recording, slides, and any materials will be sent after the presentation. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat, and we will answer them as we go along or save time at the end for questions. I am happy to introduce our presenter today, who is Spencer Guillemette from Pnc Bank. He has been working with us for quite a while now, and I'm very happy and we are fortunate to have him back with us. I will allow Spencer to introduce himself and now turn the presentation over to him. Hi, Spencer.
Hello, Liz. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Good to see you again.
Good to see you too. Thank you, everyone, for participating. My name is Spencer Giumet. I work for PNC. My job at PNC is I'm a community development manager covering Cambridge and Boston area. Previously from PNC, I work at JP Morgan Chase, HSBC, in different roles. I'm happy to be here and I'm happy to present to you this financial workshop entitled Setting Financial Goals. Thank you. My ask of you is for this workshop to be interactive. You could stop me at any time if you have any questions. And most importantly is for you to learn and grasp the knowledge that is presented to you today. Thank you again, Liz, and thank you everybody for joining in. To begin, the financial workshop topic is setting financial goals. This workshop was designed more for young adults, but the information is useful to everyone. The goal of this workshop is to help participants create a budget and identify ways to decrease spending to reach their goals. Our objective today, if you could take the recording off so that I could read.
Oh, sorry. I don't know what happened here. Okay, go ahead.
I guess continue. All right, perfect. Our objective here is to do a couple of things. Number one is to learn how to track daily spending habits, prepare a personal spending plan or budget to estimate monthly income and expenses, to identify ways to decrease spending and increase income, very important. And lastly is to identify budgeting tools that will help you manage your money. Next slide. This is a very good question, and I want to pose it to the audience, to the participant. Why create a spending plan? Why you think it is important that you create a spending plan? Anybody who wants to answer that question, that would be great. Why create a spending plan?
Without a plan, you're just kind of floating and have no direction.
Very good. Thank you, Nicole. Anybody else?
There may be some something that you want to purchase, and if you don't have a plan of how you're going to save the money or get there, you won't make it.
That's true.
And I echo
yes,
that
please.
too. I want to say it's for a longer term too. It's not just short term. It's if you have something that you want to do over the long term, you have to watch your short term spending.
Awesome. One of the things I always say to people when they make their New Year's resolution is to have financial resolution as well. Is to make sure you create a plan so that you know exactly how much money comes in and how much money comes out, so that your financial wealth could be in better position year on after. So the scenario basically give you, just let you know exactly why it's important. I read it to you. It said, it's a phone call. Man, I ran out of money again. I can't go get a pizza with you. And then the other party on the call said, you should develop a spending plan. You can see where you're spend it all, and maybe have some. And the person will reply, I can't even make a bowl of cereal. Funny. How am I going to develop a spending plan? So spending plan is not something as tough as you don't need to be an accountant. You don't need to have a crash course in, in finance. It's basically a way, it's a disciplined way on how the money comes in and how it comes out, and you have a way to monitor it. Next slide. What is a spending plan? I think Nicole and everybody on the line basically stated very, very well. The spending plan is a step-by-step guide for meeting expenses in a given period of time. Next slide. So in order for you to reach your financial goals, there are things that are very important for you to be aware of and practice. Number one, you have to be very realistic. A lot of the time, some financial goals that we set up could be dreams, but very important. In order for you to reach your financial goals, you have to be realistic. You have to be very specific. You have to have a time frame. You need to state the action to be taken. You need to have that layout, and have a milestone. Next slide, please. Prepare a spending plan. So this is basically going to give you a step-by-step on what you need to do to prepare a spending plan. Number one, step one, you need to keep track of your daily spending. Very, very, very important. Step two, determine what your monthly income and expense are the month before they are due. Step three, find ways to decrease spending. And step four, find ways to increase income, which is something I will elaborate a little bit further on this presentation, how important that is to find ways to increase income. Next slide. Keep track of daily spending, which is number one step. What is the difference between a need and a want? This is where a lot of us need to be able to understand the difference between the two, because when you spend, sometimes you spend on your need, or sometimes you spend towards your want. And if you know the difference, it will help you discipline yourself on how to allocate your funds as you're spending along. So know the difference between need and a want. So I'm just going to pose the question here. Can somebody tell me the difference between a need and a want?
I think a need is, like I need to buy new clothes, but I don't, because I have none, or is it a want? I'm not really sure of the difference. I think a want is something that's more frivolous than a need.
Mm-hmm. I mean, this is the way I put it. I think a need of things that are necessity. You need to have it. It's part of your daily life. For example, when you have to take a shower. You need to take a shower. This is important. I'll just give you an example of that. What's as important. This is an important thing. You need to take a shower. I need to have a toothbrush. If that's my last dollar that I have and I don't have a toothbrush, this is a need. I need to go buy a toothbrush. But a want is more like, hey, I have a toothbrush, but I need to buy one that's I want one that's $150. Why? Because it looks cool. So that's separate the need. The need is I must have it because it's a necessity. And the want is more like, hey, it's more pleasure. It's more like, hey, I want to keep it with the Joneses. Or I want to do it because, it satisfied this inner self, but not really. It's not something I could go buy, not having. So it's extremely important to separate the two. I don't know if anybody have any different opinion on that, but these are the examples that I think could make you understand the difference between a need and a want. Do you know where your money goes each month? That's very, very important as we receive our paychecks, or if you're a business owner, as you're getting the money that you earn from your business, do you know every month where those money goes? So to control your money, understand where your money goes, which is very important, and keep a personal spending diary. Next slide. We are not going to do the activities. It will be great to have it and do it in person. So I will be sending the participant guide, and there we'll have, you'll be able to do that on your own, those exercises. Step 2, determine income and expenses. What are incomes? Where your income come from? And what do you spend your money? Why you need to spend your money on? Income money that comes to you from, obviously, most of us who works, and for a major corporation or for who has a 9 to 5, most of our income from a job, from employment. If you're not of age, and you're not privy to have a job and have somebody that could give you allowance, that's another way income comes in. Interest and dividend. So if you have stocks, you own a share of a company, income can come from interest and dividends, and obviously any other sources if you're a business owner, or you receive Social Security for retirement. Expenses, items you spend money on, which includes, obviously, we all have bills, transportation, paying your card note and paying insurance, and entertainment for those who likes to enjoy life and spend money on, going out, traveling, or anything that makes them satisfied. They've asked for is pleasure and entertainment concern. Next slide, please. You could continue. Next slide. What you really earn, income. So a lot of us, when we get our paycheck, we just see the last number, the money that you take home with. But there's a lot that goes on into your paycheck, which, if you really take time to digest it, you will probably not be so happy when you see the money you could have made and how much money can come out of it and how much money you left with. So it is your gross income minus deductions, and the net income is what you take home. Deductions include federal and state income tax, which we all have to pay, Social Security taxes, retirement saving contribution, if you decide to do that, to 401k, premiums for medical insurance, which is important to also have. That takes out before you actually see your funds coming in, and then it leaves you with the net income which you have that you could spend. Next slide, please. Social Security is like an insurance plan. It also called FICA, which stands for Federal Insurance Contribution Act. Benefits include retirement, disability, family, survivor, and Medicare. So this is straightforward. Next slide. Paying up expenses. Fixed expenses do not change from month to month. So there are fixed expenses, there are flexible expenses. As it shows, for example, fixed expenses are car payment, rent, and savings. It's very interesting. It put it has savings in there. Can somebody tell me why is that important? Why is that categorized as fixed expense?
Well, I think it is something that you need to put aside every month. It should be a regular amount, and it should be considered like a payment.
Exactly.
Now, personally, I always throw it into the flexible side. So not good, but I totally understand that thinking.
Yeah, our last workshop, we had entitled Pay Yourself First, and we talked about how important it is to value yourself, who's working so hard to earn a living, and the importance of putting a percentage or an amount aside every time you get paid, and then have that goes to your saving. It's extremely important. And once you start doing this Religiously, it becomes a fixed expense as to pay your rent, as to pay your car note, because again, you're paying yourself back. So that's a discipline, and that's an activity that I think we all should do as we bring in income in, put a percentage or an amount aside, and it has that, and do that religiously, and so that it could be a fixed expense. Um, Flexible expense might change from month to month. Obviously, we know some examples are electricity, food, clothing, and entertainment. And just personally on my on my side, I see food fluctuates a lot, especially these days. I got 4 boys, I got a big family, and I compare to how much I used to spend a couple of years ago to how much I spend now. It could be somebody's salary. That's how much it is. As food. I don't know if you guys have noticed that the cost of food is extremely expensive. So as inflation and as these things occurs, you need to allocate your funds and understand, hey, which one is increasing? Am I using too much electricity? Am I at home all the time, leaving the light on, and keeping things that are not supposed to be plugged in, plugged in? That's a way to basically monitor your flexible expense. For me, I've seen it very, very, very heavily in food. And some people might just want to buy clothing every week or every month. But you can, if it's flexible, that means there's a way to manage. Next slide. Decrease spending. Another for you to be able to have some, reserve. One of the ways you could do it is by decrease spending. So decreasing spending equal increasing your cash flow. Simple as that. What are some ways you can decrease your spending? I'll pose that question to the audience, the participant. What are some ways you can decrease your spending? Anybody?
Stop getting the things you don't really need.
That answers it all, right? But how you determine the things you don't really need? Because I think that's where the question lies. How you determine that? Is it like, it's like you wake up, you have a revelation that says, hey, I don't really need this. Let me stop spending this. How do you determine that? We'll go back with the slide prior to that, flexible expense and fixed expense. Fixed expense, you can't really do much about it. But flexible expenses is where you could actually see where it hurts the most. If I make $500 a week, but after my fixed expense, I'm left, let's say, with 200. And the first thing that I want to see that is to go buy a next pair of shoes because it looks great. And when you have already 10 shoes, so and then that shoes cost $200. That's what it is. How you determine to decrease your expense, because certain things fall into the want category versus the need category. And then you will know too, based on your spending habits. So what are some ways you can decrease your spending? It depends on the individual and understanding the wants versus the needs, as Liz just mentioned. Next slide. Increase income. This is the part I like the most. For some, it might be a lot easier to do that than to decrease spending. Because I always say, if you show somebody, how to do something or how to make money, they will remember that and they will want to continue to make money. But there are so many ways you could increase your income aside from your 9 to 5 or your current job right now. And I always say having multiple streams of income is something that if you don't have right now, that's something you should be thinking about on how can you have multiple streams of income. And I'm just going to put that quotation legally. So increasing your income is very important. As if I make if for 9 to 5 give me $500, and let's say I know how to make cake, and I make it because of passion, people love it, and I find a way to monetize it. I find a way to say, hey, I'm having this gathering, and I'm gonna be doing this beautiful cake. Participation is $5. And as you see, people are responding because you make great cake. You know, that could be a way of you to open a second income stream. And for, you know, for everybody, it's different. You know, you could be a person that, you know, that love kids, and you have extra time to just, you know, tutor a kid, and because you have the gift, yeah, you could do it for free, but at the same time, you could find a way to monetize it so that you could increase your income. And I'm a big advocate on having multiple income streams. Other than finding a job or finding a job that pays more, what are some ways you can increase your income? So to answer that question, next slide. Planning tools, monthly payment schedule, monthly payment calendar, a computer system. So those are tools that you could use to monitor your spending and monitor how much coming in and how much comes going out. So some people like to have it handwritten. Some people like to put it on a calendar. And some people are very tech savvy. They have a way to do it on the system, their laptop, their phone. Next slide. This is an example of monthly payment calendar. You know, it just shows where and when, how much, whatever that happens, and as far as money comes in and money comes out. Next slide. This is something that is extremely important, as you know, especially with COVID and the pandemic. Some of us, you know, unfortunately, some of us lose our jobs. Some, you know, used to make X, you know, amount of money. Unfortunately, that money has been decreased because they were forced to take another job. And life situation occurred where you cannot pay your bills. Then you have to make a decision. What payment should you make first if you do not have enough money to pay all your bills? So this is where you really go into your book and, you know, you look at all your bills and say, hey, which one is a fix? Which one is a flexible? And which one is a more fixed? And which one should I pay first? Obviously, your roof over your head is extremely important. Having the ability to go, you know, from your house to the store is extremely important. Insurance also is extremely important. So if you cannot pay your bills, you need to come to a point where you, you know, if your monthly income decrease, where you have to make certain decisions and or consult a financial advisor or somebody that could help you to make that decision. Next slide, please. If you are having trouble paying all of your bills, again, talk with a parent, guardian, or another adult you trust. Again, like I said, this workshop was geared towards more young adult, but I think it's a discipline that we all can use in our life. Pay your necessary expenses first. Pay off loans with the highest interest rate first to save on interest. Very, very important. A lot of the times we get the bill electronically. We don't get an actual envelope that comes, you know, we don't really sit down and review bills as my parents used to do. And we don't know what interest rate you're paying on a credit card. Some credit cards have 29% interest rate, and some have, you know, 10% interest rate. And then sometimes you don't even know which one you are using that could be in your advantage. So having the understanding which one you're paying higher interest rate versus lower interest rate will help determine where can I allocate my funds and what bill is important for me to just get rid of, because in the long run, it's costing me a lot more money. Talk to your creditors as soon as you think you will have a problem making a payment. It's always good. Don't run away from the bill. Make a phone call. Sometimes they have way to stop the interest. Sometimes, you know, they could, you know, come up with anything possible where they could help you in your situation. So I always say, don't run away from the bill. Face the situation and find a way to solve it and change your situation and to catch up. Next slide. I don't know, I'm going very fast, so I don't know if there's any question on this particular thing that I just mentioned.
Spencer, I just want to make a comment that we do have a workshop on November 17th about To Your Credit that talks about reading your credit history and all of that. And I think that when people they start to get in trouble paying their bills, they panic and they don't reach out. And so then debt starts to accumulate.
Exactly. It will never go away.
And then I assume that there's also the added complication of credit scores, FICO scores as well. So I think that's something, I don't know if you can address, Spencer, or if that's something to be addressed in the November 17th seminar.
Yes, I mean, I could briefly address it if anybody has a question. I'm sorry.
Yeah, specifically about the credit score and how to read a credit score, Spencer. I mean, we definitely will be talking about that on the 17th.
Mm-hmm.
In that workshop, it goes over detail of how to read a credit score, how to request your credit history, and things that could be on the credit score that are incorrect that you can take care of.
Yeah, I think we could address that in the workshop a little bit more in detail and in depth. But importantly, what I want to just put in is just want to reiterate is that the bill will not go away. The situation will not just magically be, gone. So there's no shame in the game, and anything could happen. Especially living in a situation we didn't even know COVID would have hit in 2020. So there's no shame in the game. If you can't pay the bill, just make a phone call and say, hey, this is the situation. And most organizations have hardship, program where they can help you, where it doesn't hit your credit. The worst thing you want to do is have missed payments, and then and then you're going to try to go back and fix it. With credit, there's no way you can live in America comfortably without having good credit, or at least decent credit, because I strongly believe in leverage. I don't think people should pay cash for everything, because there are benefits to credit. There are and not having it, you feel it a lot more than letting the situation get bigger than what it's not. So making the phone call and having an arrangement is extremely important. Again, it will not go away. I've learned the hard way. This is something from a person. This is personal. So it only could take like 3 months to mess up your credit, and it'll take like 3 years to build it back up. So it's extremely important. So
that's a great point, Spencer.
Thank you. So we will definitely talk more about credit. I think that workshop, I think we're gonna have Kelly do it, because I believe next week I'm out on the 17th. But I believe she will definitely go in details and in depth the importance of credit and how we should keep an eye on it, because like I said, in America, it's painful to not have credit. Because everywhere you go, you're gonna feel it. Even to get a job, even getting a job, they run your credit, and you could not, certain jobs they will not hire you because of your credit. So that's how important it is. In total, this workshop is basically it's just to give you a way to understand, as money coming in, you need to have a way and a plan on how it comes out. And if you don't do that, as Nicole, I believe, mentioned earlier, if you do not have a plan, things just go all over the place. And next thing you know, when that situation comes where you need that safety net, where you need that saving that you should put under your fixed spending, and you can't answer to it. Let's say it's the death of a close one, and there was no insurance, and then you need to answer to something that within a week or two, you don't have the saving because you weren't really disciplined with your money. Then that's where it hurts. So I strongly believe, as much as you make, or as little as you make, there's always room for you to monitor how you spend. It's that discipline that we all need to have. And then the second thing I also believe is that don't get too comfortable with one income stream. I believe each one of us possess some type of gift or something that is unique that you can help, but at the same time, as you helping, you could, receive financial, blessings or monetize what you do very good at, and create a second income stream. I work for corporate America. I've been working for corporate America, and this is not to say anything bad about corporate America, but your job is not 100% guaranteed. It's not guaranteed, and there's something called employment at will, which is basically stating that the company can decide to let you go based on any reason as long as it's not race, religion, and things like that. So setting yourself with a second income stream or third or investing or however it is, getting knowledge on how to do that is extremely important. And as the money coming in, have a way to manage how it goes out so that you don't lose track of your financial gold and wealth.
Yeah,
I think that should be it.
Yeah,
Yes, go right ahead.
thank you for that last comment, Spencer. I am a believer also in having multiple streams of income, and a friend of mine before the pandemic had, like a side gig that he was doing, which became, after the pandemic, his main source of income. So you just never know. And it's a safety net, if nothing else. So I do want to open up if anybody else has any questions before we close. Okay.
I do. I'm
Okay,
sorry, Liz, sorry to
Yep, go ahead.
interrupt. So how do you determine other or find other ways of earning income? Like, do you have any
Good
suggestions?
question.
Yeah, that's a great question.
Great question. Great question. I think it's there are things that I could say, hey, you could do this for you to make another stream of income. There are things that are risky, like investing. There are risks involved in it, and that's you need to obviously consult a financial advisor on knowing how to do that. And obviously, you need to have money to do that as well. But I believe we all have that skill set that you get compliment every day, about that can help you understand where your strength is. If you don't know how to cook, and then you say like, hey, somebody's making great money, cooking and selling to friends, and then you try it, it might not work because that's the person's gift and that's what the person, enjoyed doing. So you have to go and find out exactly what gift and what skills that you have that people compliment you on, and what you are comfortable to go right ahead and start. It could be a small business, but again, it might not be a business. It could be investing. But in that, there are risks involved in there. It could be YouTube. I see a lot of people making money with content management.
Yeah.
Just talk about something that you're passionate about, and you find out there's so many other people that are passionate about it too. Next thing you know, your channel become, you have a lot of followers, and then now YouTube is paying you for it. There are things like, Facebook ads, so many other things with technology that you can do to create a second or third income stream, but you have to go within yourself and see where your strength is. Because I think it's best to do it when it's passion, when it is a passion, than to do it just to do it. Because you might not succeed, or you might not continue or have longevity in that category unless you really learn it and master it, or it's something that you're already passionate about. I don't know if that helped answer the question.
That helps a lot. Thank you.
It sounds like a topic for another workshop. So thank you, Nicole. I think that would be a great workshop to have and very helpful to people. Spencer, I want to thank you for your time today and for the very informative presentation. As I mentioned, we are recording, and we will send the recording to you along with some materials. But as always, Spencer is always available to answer questions. He and Kelly from PNC Bank are very open to having a further conversation about any issue you have. But other than that, I want to thank you all for your time today and thank you for attending today's workshop.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Spencer.
Thank you.
Bye. Have a great day.
You too.